Welcome to the Very Fitness Podcast. We've got Owen here today, and we're just going to have a bit of a chit chat. He reached out about coming on to the Very Fitness Podcast to basically talk about what he does. Obviously, I'm a massive advocate of finding different types of ways to train, how to exercise. So we thought we'd get Eoin on, and he can tell us basically what he does, what he practices in, and how he trains his clients. So over to you.
Great. Yes. Thanks, Chris, for having me on. Really appreciate it. So yeah, I'm a chartered physiotherapist is my job. I'm also a Pilates instructor. So do like Everard Pilates, basically sports Pilates for like runners is the main thing that I do as well. And then I'm a runner myself. I would have I'm some 4-minute miler. I'm like 13:58 for 5K, and then sub 30 like 29:50 for 10K. And so I've represented Ireland a few times over the last 20 years. And then I'm the current over 35 3K European champion. So yeah, it's all good. Yeah, just delighted to have a good chat with you now, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, no problem. So how long have you been involved in exercise? How long have you been running? So obviously they're fantastic times. So have you been
been kind of running. Yeah, I've been running since I was probably like 16 properly. My brother qualified for Ireland, and just kind of nearly not flukily, but like unexpectedly, I would say. He just trained hard for this race. He qualified, and then he just rub it in your face. There's only a year and a half between us, so he'd like come down to breakfast in his tracksuit, just like randomly, wouldn't say a word and then go back up. So I just had in my head, it's like, listen, I gotta win. I gotta run for Ireland one time just to shut him up. So I got into it then at like 16, started doing like 400 meters and 800 meters, more like the sprinty distances, and eventually got the international cap. But at that stage, then I had the running bug. So continued on for, all through my 20s. I would have been targeting like the 2012 Olympics, but the year before I just had a terrible year running. I was just putting a lot of pressure on myself, and it was a blessing in disguise though, because it gave me perspective that I realized then that, if you run terribly, nobody cares in a good way. Before, like, I had this kind of undefined tension in me of like, what happens if you run bad, or are you letting people down, and you'd be so nervous and just not enjoying it at all. So even though I never went to the Olympics, I never trade that, because after that year I had that realization that, you are only running for yourself, and I've enjoyed it so much more, and I've got a lot of success as well. Like, I won a lot of national titles and ran for Ireland. But like, I would, if you said, oh, you could have the Olympics but you'd never have that bad year, I wouldn't trade that. It just gave me that perspective to realize no one cares. And then later in my like late 20s, I started getting like more niggles and injuries, and that's when I really started doubling down on the need for like sports Pilates, just to stay healthy and injury free, once a week, just to my body wasn't recovering the same way. So yeah, I've been in it since, like, I'm 36 going on 37 now. So still enjoy it. It's just got so much out of it, some friends, and that perspective, like, of how to stay fit and healthy.
So what made you go more the Pilates route than like a strength conditioning plan?
I used to do a bit more like strength, and I think either is as good. So even though I do like the sports Pilates, if you're a runner, naturally you need to be doing at least one kind of strength training session, or one like Pilates session per week. If you pick a strength conditioning side, or if you pick the Pilates side, it doesn't matter. It's to activate the muscles. The only thing I would say is that why I kind of did that one was, I have this like triangle in my head of like a hierarchy of how to develop like appropriate strength basically, moving towards speed. So what I want to start with is like good movement patterns, so that you should have a good level of mobility, stability, like being able to activate the muscles, and motor control of like technique work, that like you're able to do it smoothly based on the other two. And then once you have that, and that's what the kind of sports Pilates really hits, once you have that, then that allows you to be good in the gym. I would say the next level is what we call like anatomical adaptation or work capacity. So, like doing like 3x12s, more circuit type, so that you're basically conditioning your body and the tendons to be ready for more strengthening work. And then you can build into like, your strength phase of like, 3x5 of reps. And then you go to like, say, strength speed, which is power, but there be more emphasis on the strength aspect. So like Olympic lifts or, heavy sleds. And then you go for like speed strength, which would be more like light jumps, like just with a hex bar, or focus on like explosive sleds, like so lighter sleds where you focus on the speed, then into plyometrics and speed. So it was probably for most people, if I'm away, not in the gym, I was like, this at least is the bottom rung of the pyramid that I feel like they need to be getting. Yeah. But again, if people were used to the gym, that's 100% a viable way to do it as well. And it's so important if people want to be able to run healthily, because running is great for cardiovascular fitness. It's great for burning calories. It does not use muscle. That's why no runner ever gets like a muscle tear. Like you never hear someone, they'll have a hamstring strain, they'll have Achilles tendon issues, the plantar fascia will be sore, their hip might be sore, their back might be sore. They don't get like a soccer player that gets like a quad tear, a hamstring tear, because the muscular system is not being used. It's all passive injuries, like the tendons, the ligaments, and the joints are overloaded. So you need something at least once a week. When you're younger, you get away with it. But what I realize is I need something at least once per week that essentially just wakes up those muscles. Because once they're woken up, they're then able to do the work. I use the analogy of like, if me and you were in a bar, Chris, and I'm beside you and someone, say, starts a fight, I can be there to help. I can diffuse the situation. If I'm asleep in my bed, I can't help you. You're on your own. And that's essentially what can happen. It's like, if the muscles are asleep, dormant, basically, well, then and you're out doing like a longer run, it's like only the passive structures, only the ligaments, the tendons, and the joints can take the load. If you've woken up the muscles through, say, strength training or through your sports Pilates, that then allows the muscular system to take pressure off. It'll just do it naturally. It will naturally take that pressure off, but it needs to be woken up and it needs to be activated. And I see once a week is usually ideal for that.
Yeah. So will you say with the type of sports Pilates, is it more physical than normal Pilates? Is it more strenuous on, well, not say strenuous on the muscle, but more adapting to the muscle?
Yeah. And the big thing, one, I try to get a lot done in the 45 minutes. So it's like, we kind of roll through, and I really want to burn those muscles, because people come to me, Chris, and they'll be like, just from a physio perspective, oh, like, my hip's still sore, I'm doing this stretch. And it's like, you're sitting 10 hours a day and you think a 30-second stretch is going to fix that. You need to get these muscles burning. So that's what we do in the Pilates. The other thing we do is we go from, like, traditional Pilates can be a lot on the ground and just modifying those exercises. We'll start on the ground, like with your glute clams, your core work, your glute bridging, but then we'll try go more onto our feet to replicate the positions that we'll be in for running, which we think then does a greater transfer. Because what we're really trying to do is wake these muscles up so that when you're running, they're able to take the pressure off. So we go more on our feet than more traditional Pilates. We do a little bit more, the moves we do are a little bit more specific to running than traditional Pilates. And that would be the difference. So it would be a little bit more intense, but again, it's beginners. So we talk you through the whole way. And it's geared towards getting used to activating the muscles so it'll help in running.
So what do you, with that kind of approach, do you approach it more with like long distance runners, or like, I don't know?
Yeah, generally when I see people, it's more with the sports Pilates. It's like people who want to do 5Ks. We give out like training programs for them, like sample ones for people from like 5K. We do a bit of general fitness, but it's more like general fitness or 5K, and then your 10K, or you're doing your marathons or Ironman and you want to stay fit and healthy. So it's generally people who don't like the gym, or don't really do the gym, but they know they need to be doing something to keep their muscles free. So a lot of people are doing it just so they can stay running injury free, as opposed to doing it because they want to, I really recommend the gym, but a lot of people don't like it, that way. So like my ideal would be like, say 3 gyms, 3 runs, but these are more people who want to run 3-4 times and then maybe just one one gym. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100% agree. I mean, back in the day, I used to do a lot of running. I used to run a running club in Southport, the town where I'm from. And I used to have a few runners that just basically did a lot of running, and they're always picking up injuries all the time. And I said, look, it's not just about running. You need to do a bit of strength training.
Yeah.
The main reason they didn't want to do the strength training side in a gym, like what I would do, what I more specialize in, they didn't like the gym environment. So I can imagine doing that side of it might be better. I don't know if it's because they were intimidated about being in the gym, but some people, it's one of them. It's like a love or hate relationship. People love picking up a dumbbell, a barbell, or stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not everyone's cup of tea, and this is why I'm like an old-fashioned kind of trainer. I stick to more like the free weights, and I focus a lot more on these days on muscle building and fat loss.
Yeah, brilliant.
But the reason why, like I do the podcast and I do it with a lot of different people as well, because I do believe that everything has every kind of approach. If it's Pilates, yoga, strength training, power training, mixed martial arts, it all has a place in the fitness industry. All of it's good. Like I always say to people, you can cherry pick a bit of everything. That'd be great. But some people will prefer, just don't like certain things, because, for me, like, I'll probably be more in tune to doing it these days, yoga, just because I'm 41 now. I'm still quite fit and limber, but I'm definitely feel like I could do a good stretch now and again. And I do a few stretches and that, but sometimes, the reason why we see people like myself or like yourself is because it makes people do something. You see a physio because to go through certain movements and stretches that, you can do on a daily basis yourself. But sometimes when you actually go and see someone, they take you through it properly.
Yeah. And like, how many people do you know? Like the amount of people who would come in, like I recommend everybody to get a coach, just because it's sad. It's guys, it takes no more time or effort to do the right training as the wrong training. And like, I think it's like money that no one ever regrets spending. But like I've had it where I'd have people, maybe they've done it for a year and then they know a lot of the exercises to do, or you've had someone and if they know what to do, but you chat to them in 6 months and it's actually the best people go, I just never did it. So they need to get that accountability because like a coach, 3 things that a coach does is, one is that it gives you the accountability. I think first off that you have to go, you set in that time, you have that intention. Secondly, then will be knowing what to do. And I think that's a thing that intimidates runners, because I see people in the gym and they're kind of just walking around. They pick up a weight, they do a little bit, they go somewhere else, and then they leave after an hour and they go, I didn't get much done. Yeah. Whereas like if you go for a run, you feel like, I got a good bit done. So in our Pilates, it's like I turn it quickly because I want it, like, and like you were saying with your type of training, like say for muscle building, fat loss, at least you're turning exercises, they're doing like multiple reps, so they feel like they're getting a lot. And if you have a coach, they'll keep you on track, because as you said, I see people and they just don't know what to do. The time they're taking between exercises is crazy because they're not focused. They're kind of nearly, I'll do this one. Okay, what will I do next? And you can lose 2-3 minutes between each exercise then. And the last thing is just like, while I have a coach, is just to make sure you're doing things correctly, make sure you have the correct technique. So
yeah, definitely. It's like going back to what I was saying there, because it's a, you're going to you to do something different. And I think like a lot of people, like you were saying then, that go to the gym, the reason they don't like the gym is because they don't know what they're doing in there.
100%.
A lot of clients I get on and they start training with me that don't really particularly like a gym, don't particularly want to go there. They kind of might have been forced to go there because of doctor, or 9 out of 10, they just look at themselves, what's happened? I need to get myself in the shape.
Yeah.
Don't like going to the gym, give me a shout, get in it. And actually I like it because because as us trainers, we give them a structure.
Yes, exactly.
What does, what works. So they're not going in the gym faffing around for 6 months or whatever long they last there. They get in the program that will work straight away for them.
Yeah, and people know it themselves. Like they'll leave the gym, say after a session with you, Chris, and it's like they'll get back in the car and go, yeah, that was good. Like because I think a lot of people get frustrated. I know I've done this in the past myself, where you go in and you said you just don't know what exercise to do. So in the end, you feel like I haven't really done much, but the time has just flown by. Like, because whereas like if you have a coach, it's like, right, we're doing this as the warm up, we're going into this type of set, these kind of exercises into the next set. It all has that structure that when they leave, they go, yeah, that was good. I just feel like I got a lot done in there, and I know what I have to do for the next day again. So it makes a big difference. And then, as you said, God.
No, so I was about to say, I think that I always say it works in everything in life. We're talking obviously from a physio sports training kind of scheme, but anything in life, if you've got a coach, if it's the coach who in business, if it's the coach who doing your maths or whatever it is,
yeah,
you're just getting the expertise to get you to the place a lot quicker and more effective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and as I said, it's frustrating because the hardest thing is to put the time in to actually get out. That's the hardest thing for people to do. So I'm just frustrated for them when people, they're doing the hard bit and yet they're just not getting the results because what they're doing is incorrect and they just don't realize it. Yeah. And it's like that takes no more time or effort. Do you know, it's like you don't need, it's not like when they go to you, Chris, they need 2.5 hours. You know, it's like if they say you have an hour, you're going to get so much more done with them in an hour than they are. Or in my course, they're going to get so much more done in that time than they are themselves. You know, even when we give the exercises or the running training, they just get a lot more from that because they know what they're doing rather than just like doing the same run the whole time and not getting the results or not getting the fitness gains that they should be getting.
So when you do your like Pilates, how do you structure it in the way you do it?
Generally, I do. So there's different weeks that we do. So like say we start week 1 is like a transitions class. So generally it's like we start learning the basic moves on the ground to like activate the kind of core muscles, get the hips moving better, like with like kind of hip opener type exercises. And then we transition from all fours into standing. And the idea being that we get used to activating the muscles on the ground and then get them using those muscles in standing. Then week 2, we change the focus each week. So week 2 would be then more learning how to control the pelvis. A lot of injuries that we see, like say even like Achilles and stuff, is because if we have this anterior pelvic tilt, it can just not allow things to be moving the way they should. So we really focus on that, and we use like say a towel. So we'll do kind of like some slider type exercises, working on that core control for like our bridging, and then again doing that in standing, working on correct body position there. Then we add like a weight as well in like week 3, just as something to distract the body. So we'll go into like running positions, have like different exercises that distract the body. Again, repeating some of the other things we've done, but just with a slightly different focus, you know, maybe around like posture around the shoulders. And then week 4, we do a thing called Pilates flow, where we just like move through each exercise with the goal being like really activating and moving around the hips. And people always say like, okay, they feel a lot looser there, even though it's like probably one of the most intense classes. Then week 5, I give a little bit of a breather. We do like kind of thing called like mobility plus, which again activates the muscles hard, but we work on different like rotations of the pelvis. So again, like running is very linear, so sometimes it's good to just to mobilize the hips to reduce that stiffness that we get from sitting all the time. So we'll do a couple of things. We usually will do one kind of mobility exercise and then one activation or stability exercise just to like get everything firing. And then I think in week 6 I do a thing called like shoulder and glute fire, just something to really activate these muscles, because when we're sitting, you know, we're sitting for 10 hours, the glutes can really switch off, we're in poor posture. So it's just something to really like fire that back up. And then we just vary that throughout the time, where sometimes there'll be much more emphasis on balance and jump and landing and making sure that we have the muscles of the foot firing. Other times there'll be a lot more focus on like core and pelvic control, and other times there'll be much more focus on like keeping the glutes activated and mobility.
Brilliant, brilliant. And how many sessions a week do you do that on a weekly basis?
Like in the course, we have a good few, but generally for runners, like they want to be out running. So we just say like once a week is ideal. We have like a 20-minute blitz. It's usually a 45-minute class, but we have a 35-minute class that's easier, for some people that mightn't have the level yet. And we have a 20-minute kind of blitz class if people want to do a bit extra. And then we have like different other mobility classes or gym, we kind of give sample like 30-minute gyms. Again, though, they're wouldn't be as designed as you. They're more like just if people want to use weights but still hit the same kind of thing. So we have different focuses, but I generally tell people at least once a week. And struggling enough to get that now rather than getting them to do more.
Yeah. Do you do this in a kind of gym environment or a class environment, or do we do it online?
It's all online. I have a couple of classes here live in Kilkenny, but they're like completely full. So most of it's online. We have free trials actually if people ever want to try it. It's like everardpilates.com/sport free trial. I can put that in the link, but we have it's usually online and it's more in an environment. You don't really need any equipment or anything like that. We can send you little bands if you need them, but that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Do you is it obviously because you do a lot of running yourself, so you probably specialize a little bit more in running, but do you get other people from other backgrounds to come into you for this type of training?
Yeah, like it's like I kind of keep it broad, but like it's generally you get some cyclists, you get some people just general fitness want to, do, people are very tight and stiff, so it's like just we have like these aren't all like elite runners by any means.
Yeah.
Generally for runners, I try if you're exercising say 3 times a week, I then recommend to do the class. If you're exercising less than that, I'd probably be recommending, if I only had 2 days a week, I would either just go for runs or I would go and maybe like someone like yourself, Chris, like get a proper like, weight loss program, like that kind of strengthening.
Yeah.
If you're doing 3 times a week, you like your running, this is a great add-on as well. So to do like the Pilates. So generally, we got no superstar runners or anything. It's more people who just are generally into the running or like running and know they should be kind of doing a little bit of kind of gym work or strength work, and they use this as the thing to do it.
So do you have like a beginners, intermediate, advanced class?
Yeah, we have like it all starts at beginners. Again, it's intensive. Like we have different as I said, we have the easier class each week, but it's all beginners. And then as we progress, we just progress it on with a general group. I call them the OGs. They're the original gangsters. They're there for the long haul. But we start like if people have no experience with Pilates, and we teach them everything they need to know.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing Pilates for now?
I'm doing them. I said I had a pretty bad hip injury when I was like in my late 20s. So I've been nearly doing it now. Like 7-8 years. It's mad when you talk about time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like you think I would have thought like, maybe 3-4. No, it's about 8-9. Like I would have done the stuff before, but like when I really got into it myself was then, because I was out for about 20 weeks and this is about the only thing that fixed it. So I've been pretty religious with it as well.
I say, like I say, if you find something that works for you, and you're passionate about it, and it can benefit other people as well, it's good to do what you've done and stuff. That sounds really, really good.
Yeah. No, like I think it's just something it's something I enjoy, and I think it's something that's needed for runners. What would your approach then be to like the gym?
To the gym, well, because I'm so busy all the time, I tend to just do 2 body splits, which is
Okay.
So it's 2 full body workouts. I try and work on specific muscle groups, so we still work the whole body. So I might do like the first 4 weeks, we work more chest and back exercises.
Yeah.
And then after that, we do legs and posterior chain. So legs, just trying to improve posterior chain, working the back muscles. And at the end, we'll focus on like arms and shoulder muscles. And basically, it's just basic gym work, really. Just structured, working on more compound movements. We always start with the compound exercises. And we'll do a bit of a finisher on the exercises. So we might go on the skier, kettlebell swings, boxing, battle rope.
Okay, yes. Yeah.
You know, usually trying to exhaust the muscles that we've worked on.
Yes.
And then we kind of just work on that really. And the thing is then is just basically for me, from a fat loss point of view, is trying to talk to them about how they eat and like.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about lifestyle. It's improving that person's lifestyle. I mean, I don't have any particular athletes that come to myself. It's more people that
Yes.
just want to get into the gym, want to lose weight, want to build a bit of muscle. You know, I class myself as a muscle building expert, but not in an Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of way. It's just to basically get your body composition better. So get your body more made of muscle than fat.
And is that what percentage do you think that's like in the gym versus like nutrition?
At the gym is probably the less really. It's nutrition. It's what goes on outside. It's trying to get them to change their mindset when it comes to food, how to approach food, because there's so much information out there. You just don't know what to work on. I don't know if you follow me on my social media. I've been doing like things about diets and the pluses and the minus. You know, all diets have a good, apart from the really ridiculous ones like starvation diets where you're just drinking juices.
Yeah.
And like that. I mean, I'm into the fasting side of it because of the health benefits more than for the weight loss. But obviously, there's a weight loss advantage in that. So it's just basically just trying to find what works for that person's lifestyle.
Yes.
And basically, like we said before, trying to keep them accountable. At the moment, just because of my schedule in an in-person gym, I'm only really can see clients twice a week. If it's online, you can do 3 days a week. I can create a plan, and we do like Zoom check-ins for half an hour, and we basically spend that half an hour just finding how they're getting on the program. But more again, the lifestyle, what you eat and how you find it, how you approach it, the water in, and just trying to get them to change them things. And it works. I mean, I seem to get results quite quickly. The first 12 weeks, most people will achieve more than what they wanted, or get them there. Some people take a bit longer. There's no magical workout or way.
That's the thing, isn't it?
You know, it's just trying to find what works for them, and it's just trying to get into their mindset. The gym for me is just the focus point. I always say to them, try and get them fixated on 2 regular slots that they can stick to, and it becomes part of the lifestyle. Obviously, if they need to change it, some weeks they can do. Just get them into that routine, and that's as easy as that. I always say to people, it's just managing your calories in, managing your calories out. I'm not massive into doing like food diaries or anything like that. When I talk about that, it's just making sure they're getting enough protein, they get enough rest, they drink enough water, eat real foods, don't eat rubbish foods, and just the simple things really. And then
so funny. And you find because it's just the basics. Do you find like giving people that they can follow it then in a structure, like what to find the best way? Do you think it's I think a lot of things will be just like, because they know they're going to be calling you, it means that they're probably like, you know, if I'm going to have a chocolate bar, but I know I have to chat to Chris the next day, it's like, oh, I'm going to have to tell him about that. Do you think that's the key thing, or do you think you have it like that? No, I actually just tell them specifically what to have throughout the day, and that really helps.
Yeah, I just, I'll just say to people, I try and get people not to be too fixated on it. I can tell people, like, I was on a conversation with a client the other day, you know, he wants to lose the weight. But the problem that I always say he has is just constantly making the poor food choices.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was saying, look, at the moment, you're taking in far too many high starchy carbs into your diet. I'm not one to say don't eat carbs, because carbs are fine. Now, obviously, if you're running and you're an endurance athlete, you want to take in as much because you need the energy when you're going. But if you're like,
but just the same types, like, you know, I'd have porridge in the morning. It's like, it's not having freaking crunchy nut cornflakes and thinking, oh, well, it's I need carbs. It's like, well, there's certain types you need, and there's certain types that are going to kill you.
Yeah, and I'll explain to them. I said, look, like porridge is fine. You know, brown rice is, explain to them it's slow releasing. Your body's got more opportunity to use it as energy. You know, tell them why fats are a good source of energy, and what are good fats, and just basically just trying to like get them to understand. And like this particular client, I was saying, like, what you need to do is basically, if you're trying to lose weight and we're holding more body fat than we need to do, we need to kind of get a more of a high protein diet, low carbs, to try and get that keto, without going on a keto diet, trying to get that keto effect. We want to be using our body fat that we're storing at the moment and utilize that as energy rather than over consuming too much in, because you got most of the time we digest food for 12 hours. So if we're taking in far too many carbohydrates in or too much food in, we're just maintaining what we've already got. We're not utilizing the body fat there. So what I try and tell people to do is have a small surplus of calories. So you're not taking as many calories in. So it could be 250 calories a day less. If the person's quite a bit overweight, I'll say we'll look about 500 calories or less. But again, I work out the calories, but I'm not bothered too much unless I feel like they need to. They're not getting And I said, right, create food diary. It's more of a like, oh, okay, right, this is where I'm going wrong. I'm eating.
Kind of a realization of what, like, look, that is too much, like,
But we know counting calories is not long turnable. So it's just educating, and that's all I'm there. And that's what I say to people. I'm like your teacher in a way. I like one of the podcasts I did before Christmas. I was talking with a personal trainer. I say I hate the fact being classed as a personal trainer, because a personal trainer is like, for me, it's like someone that trains you. Because I like to class myself as more like a fitness coach or consultant or something like that.
I know exactly. It's that saying of like, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You're like, if I could teach you to fish, you can eat for life. Like,
exactly. And that's all I'm doing it. So when you step away from here, you've got all the tools, you know what to do. My greatest clients are the ones that left me in better shape, and 2 years later, not being with me, I see them and they're still in great shape.
Yes.
That's the best. Anyone can achieve something in 12 weeks. And that. But when you can see someone that's been with you, and even clients, I mean, I've got a lot of clients like to come to me because they know since they've been with me, they've been great. I can be a little bit of a therapist for them in ways and stuff. And there are a lot of clients I've been with me for years. And the great thing is we always look back. So I record everything. We take pictures on a regular basis. We see the progress. I mean, we can always say, look where we were, look where we are now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's 5 years on, and we're still doing well. And then sometimes they drop back, even with me. They've got into bad habits. And I'm there to pick them back up again. Again, like we said before, a coach, or however you want to look at it, a personal trainer, whatever, is there someone to be accountable for.
Yeah. And as you said, it's not getting in that negative loop. It's like, where it's like, if you do something bad, it's like, right, well, like tomorrow, get back on it. Like, where people can sometimes think, I did that wrong, and now, try then, continue to do things bad because they're on a negative loop. Where it's like, if you can kind of reset that as quick as possible, it's like, look, like we always have, I'll have treats. I'll have like treats on a freaking Sunday. It's not a big deal as long as Monday you're kind of back at it. I always like that saying. It's like, nothing changes if you do something some of the time. So if I eat well some of the time or exercise some of the time, it's like, it's the consistency that makes the big difference.
It's like before, I've had a bowl of porridge this morning with some cashew nuts. I put a little bit of dark chocolate in there. I've come home, I've had made some turkey burgers, and I've had that. And I'm knackered. I've been up all night with my daughter. It's been terrible this week. Like 3 nights in a row, being up all night. I've got to go back. I've got to do 4 clients. I played basketball on a Friday night. I won't be finished at 10. And I felt like, you know what? I saw some jelly babies. I put some jelly babies in there, and I'm having a sugar kick.
I know.
Keep you awake, because I thought,
exactly.
Would I recommend this to a client? No, I won't. If a client had that and he said, I have a few jelly babies the other day, so what?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you're doing it all the time, then it becomes a bit of a health hazard. You know what I mean? But it's just getting that balance and understanding it and having that a good relationship with food.
And it's like, everybody has their own vices, and then sometimes it's like I'm like that. I can have chocolate in my house, and like the lads like kind of slag me that I can have a square of chocolate and not have a big deal. However, like, I'm legit like thinking of getting rid of my phone, because like I was obsessed with chess there. Like, I just literally couldn't stop playing the goddamn sport. So I know, say, some people will be able to have the jelly babies. I'd be in the same camp as you and just leave them the next day. Other people, you got to understand yourself. Like, if you're not the person that can do that, you need to cut that off at the source. Like, you just can't have them in your house. And if you need a day where you're like, I'm having that, dump them, like throw them in your bin, because you'll think, you know what, no, I'll keep those and I'll have the rest. Or someone was coming over, we need some sweets in the house. It's like no one announces themselves. No one comes unannounced anymore. And if they do, you can just say, oh, I'll pop out to the shop, or, you know, I'll just have a cup of tea. So it's funny that way. I feel like sometimes it's knowing, like being honest with yourself makes a big difference as well. It's like, I've had it with the Pilates, where I had a girl, she was like, oh yeah, sure, these exercises, like I kind of have a general idea of what I should do. Yeah. But then you see her like 6 months later, she's not doing it. And it's like, it's know yourself. Like I know myself. It's like, I have a coach, because I know I'll do the Pilates because I have to do it. But it's like, I don't like it's, I'll always go for a run. I just won't always do the Pilates, even though I know, like, I have had hip injuries. I've had like a left shin and left ankle. And if I don't do it, they get sore. But sometimes you need that kicker. You need to know, you need to give yourself different things that will help you achieve what you can do. So if it's like, if you can't have sweets in the house without eating them in the nighttime, just get rid of the sweets.
Yeah. Well, it's like with me now, obviously, if anyone's listening, not watching this, I've got it in a bowl. Now these jelly babies came in a massive box.
Yes.
And if I had the box there with jelly babies, I know the way I am. I'll smash it. I'll eat it.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah.
And the reason I put it in there is I portion control myself, because I know what I like. And just simple little tips like that, if you can introduce that into people's lives, it can make a difference.
Big time.
Sometimes someone goes, oh, he's done well. How did he lose all that weight? And so not much really. We just cut out bread. Is that it? Yeah, it was quite.
Yeah.
It was a bread muncher. Just everything was bread.
Yeah. I don't eat bread either.
We've got to ban bread and ban bread, and he's looking great. He might go back and have the odd slice, which is fine. It's not going to be a problem. But he was just on an obsession of just toast in the morning, sandwiches, beans and toast for tea and that. So he was obsessed with it, and it's just making them little adjustments and changes and that, because, you know. I mean, it's like with me, like I say to people, I love M&M peanuts. When we talk about chocolate, that's my little, anything with chocolate nuts, I love it.
Yes,
peanuts, yeah. A great combination. And because I'm around for it, people will buy it for me like birthdays and Christmas. They tend to have a lot of M&M peanuts. And I know it's rubbish. And again, I'll do what I've just done with my jelly babies.
Exactly, yeah. You can still enjoy a treat.
You know, you've got to treat yourself now and again.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. 100%.
So going back to your question, basically, that's how I kind of approach the whole object, really, is just trying to find things that work for them. Because, like, you know, with what you do, everyone's different. Everyone reacts different to programs. So the train aspect, I always find is quite the easy bit.
Yes. Yeah, and it's getting the lifestyle.
I think it's good sometimes doing a full body, because you're doing a bit of everything. So you haven't got as much DOMs the next day. So you're not really focused too much. Like if it's just on your legs or your chest and that, you tend to get more volume, which causes a lot more muscle soreness the next day. They still get a bit of muscle soreness, especially when we change the different phase. We go from working something different, and just keep them accountable, and just having these conversations about nutrition, and just trying to find things that might work for them. Like going for things like fasting. Sometimes it might be better for them to skip breakfast. They've got a bit of a window, so they're not overeating, they're not grazing too much, and you know, and if it works for them, they can do it and they're happy with it, it's fine. It's like slimming clubs. Some people that come to me go to Weight Watchers.
Yes.
No issue. If it works for them and it helps them on the nutritional side and they're losing weight and they're reaching their goals, fine. And they're all focused on is just training them in the gym. So that's how it works. So, so basically, what's the best ways to approach you? How to get in contact with you?
Great. Yeah. Well, I have a book. It's free. It's called How to Get to the Line in the Best Shape Possible. So you can get that at Everard Pilates. So EVERARD Pilates PILATES.com/book. And you can just download that there.
Oh, that's fantastic. And social media platforms you on?
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok. So if you just put in my name, Everard Pilates, it should come up. I think it's Everard Physio Pilates on Instagram.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Chris, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much.